Alright, now in the previous video we explained what front metadata is and how to use it. Now in this video we're going to explain how to get a thumbnail for each blog post that we see here. Or in other words, each blog post that we see here will get a nice thumbnail. Now let's cut the crap and let's get our hands dirty. Alright, now let's go to the code, and then inside here we created this content folder, and inside there we have a blogs folder. Now what we're now going to do is that inside this content folder we are going to create another folder which we give the name images, and then inside the images folder we'll create another folder which we give the name thumbs for thumbnails. And then let's find a nice image to use for our thumbnail, and that is going to be this image that we see here. Now you can download it via this button here, but I already downloaded it. So if I go back to the code and I click on my downloads, then I select this thumbnail and I'll simply place it here inside this thumbs folder like this. Alright, so how do we use this thumbnail here? Well, the first thing that we need to do is the following. Let's go to our blog, so let's go to this intro-blog.md file, and then in here we specify a new key which we give the name thumb, and then we specify the path to our thumbnail, so that will be .. slash and then images and then slash thumbs and then slash thumbnail.gpg. Alright, now we will use the same thumbnail for each blog, but of course you can do different thumbnails if you like, but for convenience we will just use the same. So we'll also add it here in the second blog file, and we do the same for the WhatsApp blog. Alright, now let's go to GraphQL, so to this tab here. Now let's zoom in a bit. Alright, so this is the query that we created in the previous video. Now we have added a new field to our front metadata. So we have the date, the description, the title, and we added another field called thumb. So if I refresh this, then you see the thumb field here. So we can select this. And if we now execute the query, then let's make this a bit wider. Then you see that we get the path to our image. And we get that for each blog. Alright, now let's copy this thumb field here, and then let's go to the code and let's go to our blogs file or our blogs page, this one here. Now in the previous video we created this query that we see here, and let's now simply paste the thumb field in here. Alright, and now comes the important stuff, because in video 6, if you watch that video, we used the static image component from Gatsby. Now in this video we are going to use the GatsbyImage component, because in this scenario we are basically passing our image via the data prop to our component, or to our blogs page component. So we more or less get the image dynamically, and for that reason we will use the GatsbyImage component. Now a more general rule of thumb to remember is that when we pass in the image via a data prop, and that's what we do here, so this query gets executed, it returns the path to the image, and we pass that inside our blog page component via the data prop. And if that's the case, then you should use the GatsbyImage component. So how do we use this GatsbyImage component? Well, let's quickly go to the documentation. Now in video 6 we already installed this plugin here, so we won't have to do that again. Now if you remembered, then we can use this plugin for static images, which is specified somewhere, where is it? Here. And we can also use this for dynamic images. Which is documented here. So here they talk about the GatsbyImage component, and that's exactly the one we need. How do we use this GatsbyImage component? Well, of course, first of all we need to import it. So let's simply copy this here, and then let's go to our blogs page and let's import it. So that's the first step. Now this is the GatsbyImage component that we are going to use to render our image eventually. And here we see the getImage, and yeah, this is a helper function that helps us to get the image data which we need in our GatsbyImage component. Now, this may sound a bit vague, but it becomes clearer in a moment. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, now basically comes the fun part, because I cannot simply do this. I cannot say getImage and then let's simply say node.frontMatter, and then let's give me the temp. And let's get the result here in a variable like this. And let's log here what we got. Or sorry, this is a stupid mistake. I of course don't have to place this here, but I have to place it here. Because here we basically loop over all the block files that is specified, that we have specified here. So I have to place this right here. And if I now go back to our code and I refresh and then I inspect this via developer tools, then yeah, I see that we got an undefined. So yeah, we actually don't get the real image data. Well, why is that? Well, this is because of several reasons. First of all, we need to configure the Gatsby source file system plugin. So let's go to our gatsby-config file. And yeah, then here we see that we have configured the file system plugin, or the Gatsby source file system plugin, but then only for the blocks folder, so to say. Now, since we have stored the images inside another folder, or the thumbnails inside another folder, yeah, we need to also configure it in a way that Gatsby knows where we have stored the thumbnails. So let's do that. So what we can do is we can simply copy this part right here, and then let's place it beneath here. And then let's change this to images. And yeah, then this will be this path here will be content/images, like this. Alright, so this enables Gatsby to pull the images inside the GraphQL data layer. Now we are not yet finished because we have to do a little bit more. Because what we need is that we need to install the Getspeedtransformer Sharp plugin. As you probably remembered from the 6th video, we need to install this bad boy right here if you want to make use of dynamic images. So yeah, we can simply copy this and then we can go to the terminal. Let's open up a new tab and let's say npm install and then Getspeedtransformer Sharp, like this. Alright, and if we now open up the code and we go to the package.json file, yeah, then we see that we have the Getspeedtransformer Sharp package. We had already installed this because we created our project via the Gatsby new command. So yeah, actually we didn't have to do this, but yeah, I just want to show all the steps. Alright, so what we have to do now is that we need to specify this inside the gatsby-config file. So let's copy the name of this plugin. And then let's go to our gatsby-config file, and below here we simply paste our new plugin. And yeah, if you watched all the other videos, then you probably know that we have to restart the development server so this new plugin gets picked up. So let's do that. Alright, now we also see an error here, but we'll fix that in a bit. Let's first explain what this plugin does. So basically this plugin, yeah, it looks for any file that ends with an image file extension like GPG or PNG, and then it creates a image sharp node for that file. So as a result, we can now go to GraphQL and yeah, let's ignore the error and let's refresh this. And if you remembered, earlier we could only select this field right here, but nothing more. But now you see some other options. And that's the result of using this Getspeedtransformer Sharp plugin. Because Gatsby is now recognizing this thumb field as an image file. And yeah, then we basically get all these extra fields which we can select now. Alright, so quick recap. What have we done so far? So we have configured this Gatsby source file system plugin. So our images are pulled into the GraphQL data layer. And next to that, we have installed this Getspeedtransformer plugin, and we have configured it. And what this basically does is that it spots images and creates an image sharp node for that file. So if we now go to GraphQL, then as mentioned earlier, we see all these extra fields. Now for the thumb here, we can now select the child image sharp and then the Gatsby image data like this. And yeah, this Gatsby image data that you see here is exactly the data that our getImageHelper function needs. So if we go back to the code, to our blocks file, then we have this getImageHelper function here. And yeah, that getImageHelper function needs this Gatsby image data. So yeah, let's extend our existing query with this data that we have here. And let's go to the code. And then if we go to our query, then let's remove the stump here and let's paste what we have just copied like this. All right, now if we now look at this log statement, then we see that this doesn't return undefined anymore. So let's go to our website, let's refresh, let's open up developer tools. And yeah, here we see that we don't get undefined anymore. We actually get some image data. So the only thing that we need to do now is that we need to inject our Gatsby component and we need to pass in this image data into that component. So let's simply do that. So in here we can say GatsbyImage. And yeah, this Gatsby image component expects two props. It expects an image prop, and in here we simply pass our thumbnail data or our image data like this. And then it expects an alt prop. So yeah, here we can specify some alt text. And for now we simply say thumbnail like this. And then we close it. All right. And if we now go back to the browser, we close this and we refresh, then bam, we see that we have the thumbnails. Alright, now that was it, and of course, you know, we can style this a bit nicer, so yeah, maybe some rounded corners and stuff like that, but that's not the main goal of these videos. Or in other words, we don't really focus on the styling stuff. Now in the next video we dive into the Gatsby file system route API, so you don't want to miss that one. So I see you in the next video.